What? Yes.
Recording in progress.
All good. Good evening. It's Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Call to order the City of Franklin Common Council meeting. Madam Clerk, please take the roll call slowly.
Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Alderman Holfer.
Present.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Here.
Alderman Hassan.
Here.
Alderwoman Day.
Here.
Alderman Barber is excused. Alderman Craig.
Here.
Excellent. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get to citizen comment period, I'll read this, our rules of decorum and our chapter 19 regarding citizen comment period. During citizen comment period, no person shall speak for longer than 3 minutes at each council meeting unless the city council shall direct otherwise to an individual. City council direction may take the form of unanimous consent. City of Franklin meeting rules of decorum for attendees and participants. I read this every meeting. For those attending City of Franklin meetings, respectfully and orderly conduct is expected at all times. Disruptive or unruly behavior, including but not limited to clapping, verbal disruptions, signs, and outbursts will not be tolerated. For those wishing to speak during City of Franklin meetings, approach the microphone when the chair opens the floor. That's me for citizen comments. State your name and address for the record. Address your comments to the Common Council, Board, or Commission. That's facing forward here. Limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. City Engineer Glenn Moore will be our timekeeper as normal. No endorsements or electioneering is allowed. Speakers shall refrain from presenting unduly repetitious, offensive, threatening, slanderous, defamatory, or obscene remarks. Persons wishing to speak as a spokesperson on behalf of a neighborhood, subdivision, homeowners association, condominium, or business association, or a similar group with common interests shall demonstrate their qualifications to do so accordingly to the City of Franklin Resolution Number 2007-6227 before speaking on that body's behalf. Questions may be answered immediately by the chair or referred to city staff for a future reply in a timely manner. Those not adhering to these rules of decorum for attendees and participants will be asked to leave or be removed from the meeting if necessary. So I'm not sure if anybody tested the microphone there, but we're going to start citizen comment period. If you're wishing to speak, step up now, and what we're going to try to do to help expedite this is if you're looking to speak, come to the podium. If you're looking to speak after that, stand in line and we'll start a line coming out, but we're going to move this along tonight, and if we have a number of things we got to get to, but we're going to open it right now. So if you're wishing to speak, come up, approach the podium, state your name and address. If you're not first, you're second, and you keep going down, name and address for the record. But if you want, sir, can you do me a favor? Can you do this? Hey, works. It's the only one we got, so don't break it. Good evening and welcome.
All right. Good evening. My name is Omar Abalqoub. I'm a junior at Franklin High School. I live at 5232 West Clare Court. Members of the council, I'm saddened to say that many of us were left disappointed by the constant delay and pushing aside of the ceasefire resolution that we have been pushing for. It simply aimed to put a stop to the death of innocent lives in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Hundreds of families in Franklin, and perhaps most importantly, us, the youth, have been felt betrayed by the lack of urgency placed on this matter. We have been taught all our lives as students, especially many of us with immigrant parents and immigrant upbringings, that this country values the voices of the citizens. It values the voices of the people. Yet, we have seen a lack of urgency with what many of us came forward to speak about. It is a shame, after almost a month of cooperation and multiple appearances by hundreds of residents, that our beliefs have simply been ignored, pushed aside, deemed irrelevant and unimportant. And the truth is, it was the first time for the vast majority of us, especially the students, giving a speech in front of you, our representatives. We before had not felt the need or the importance to make an appearance. But as I stated before, we took that step and we put our faith in you, and we were left disappointed. If I could have everybody who's here for the ceasefire resolution stand up, please. Thank you. So the last time I stood in this very spot, I asked a question. I asked you if the beliefs of these people, if the beliefs of the hundreds of families, the hundreds of residents of Franklin, to put a stop to this war, to declare a ceasefire as the city of Franklin, isn't a pressing issue in Franklin, then truly what is? And despite our disappointment, we came back, because even though we were disappointed, we have not lost hope. I urge you to not push aside the views of these youth and to not turn them away the first time we come to ask something of you. Do not let the little details of this ceasefire resolution, which aims to put an end to the death of innocent lives from both sides, get in the way of us as the city of Franklin taking a stance against this war. And let the youth be proud that Franklin stood up against this war and viewed our opinions as important, valuable, and as a pressing Franklin matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to give you a response before you sit down, you haven't been ignored. No one's been ignored. There is a draft, multiple drafts that have been going back and forth. And before any sort of peace resolution comes back before the council, I've requested that two alders, two of the electeds up here, bring that back and then it come on the next council agenda. Okay? So you haven't been ignored. Please do not say that. It's very important that as a whole, we are looking for peace as a whole and absolutely not taking a side. Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Debbie Elrich. I'm at P.O. Box 1020, Franklin, Wisconsin. And I've been a citizen in this city for 67 years and a taxpayer for 50-some years. And I appreciate that these young children came in and want something, but as a taxpayer, I want something too, and I don't believe I stand alone. Right now, across the country, the thought is that there's about 80% of people that support Israel and their right to take care of themselves and defend themselves, and only 20% of other people want to see it stop. And before you do this resolution, that I don't believe any of you guys are doing, I heard that it came from I heard that it actually was presented to you from the school board president or superintendent or whatever he is. Quite honestly, I think that's a waste of taxpayer money that he is doing this. And I think it's a waste of taxpayer money to have you guys sitting up here and me having to come back all the time to ask you not to do this. You need to look into what you're doing, not just do it for the sake of doing it. Because Israel was in peace with the neighboring Arabs, or whatever they are, Palestinians. And it was Hamas that came in and bombed and destroyed, killed, and still have 100 and some hostages in their command right now. 4 were just found killed just a couple days ago. So you need to know what you're putting here. You don't just need to follow children. You need to find facts, and don't say, well, every other city or other cities have done this. I don't care if other cities do it. First of all, it's not going to make a hill of beans difference, and we all know that. Do you think that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to care what Franklin, Wisconsin says? Really?
He called me earlier, Debbie.
Tell him I said hi. He doesn't care. He's not going to stop. So all we're doing is getting the taxpayers who are citizens for sure. I don't even know that all these children that go to school are actually citizens here. So, well, good. Yay, yay, yay. They are. Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm a citizen too, and I would appreciate some consideration. You okay?
You all right there, sir? We do have a water fountain in the hallway.
Right.
Where are we at, Mr. Morrow?
Oh. 1 minute? 1 second?
3 minutes.
All right. Well, thank you for your
Thank you, Ms.
consideration, and I hope you do follow through on this in the proper way. God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening and welcome.
My name is Mary Casper, and I have my address in the card if you would like it. On October 7th, Hamas slaughtered approximately 1,200 men, women, children, and the elderly, all unarmed. 4,000 wounded, 250 civilians taken hostage, and we don't know how many are still alive. There are hostage postage everywhere in Jerusalem. It's the most Jews killed in a single day since the Holocaust. The memory is short for some people of all that transpired on October 7th. It's an unfathomable evil perpetrated on the Jews and must never be allowed to happen again anywhere in the world. Iran has openly declared they want to destroy Israel. Hamas is not a government, it's a terrorist group. Its charter says, quote, kill every Jew on earth everywhere you find them. They broadcasted live that they were proud of their savagery. Hamas doesn't wear uniforms, they wear civilian clothes and hide behind children in schools and the sick in hospitals. They target Israeli civilians and use their own civilians as human shields. That is a double war crime. These monsters burned whole families, put babies in ovens alive while they raped their mothers, then beheaded them. They are not fair, they are not just, they hate, and they want to destroy the Jewish people. No army faces what Israel does with Hamas. The IDF does unbelievable efforts to save civilians. They send pamphlets, phone calls, text messages, so there is no element of surprise, and they say, please leave the area because we're going after the terrorists. You can't say Hamas needs to be destroyed and then oppose Israel for doing it. If Israel leaves them alone, Hamas will come back, as they said they will do October 7th again and again. It's like having 30 9/11s in one day. Hamas openly declares their goal that they promise to kill every man, woman, and child and to destroy Israel. That's not resistance, that's their doctrine. They say to the Jews, you shall be overcome and thrown into hell. This is the only way to liberate Palestine. Hamas in Hebrew means evil, violence, and destruction. To Israel, every citizen killed is a tragedy. To Hamas, it's a strategy. When college students say from the river to the sea, that's genocide. In 2005, Israel willingly gave the Gaza Strip up in a goodwill effort for peace. Israel has made 4 peace deals with the help of the U.S. and President Trump, which expanded the circle of peace from the Jordan to include 4 countries. Many of these leaders want to see Hamas destroyed. Hamas would destroy Israel if they could, but they can't. Israel can, but they won't destroy an entire population. Hamas is a death cult. They glorify murder. Harvard-Harris tracking poll shows 80% are for Israel and 20% for Hamas. Israel has destroyed 20 of the 24 Hamas battalions. They need to achieve victory so October 7th doesn't happen again. There's no other choice but to defeat this genocidal enemy, to secure and protect Israel's future and for all civilization. He who blesses Israel will be blessed. He who curses Israel will be cursed. Bless and don't curse. If Israel was genocidal, the war would have been over on October 8th. Israel has given Hamas 3 demands, but they won't do them. 1, Hamas needs to lay down its arms. 2, surrender. And 3, return the hostages. All reasonable requests to stop this war that Hamas has started. Israel wants peace, not war.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Good evening. David Casper. I've got my address on my card if you'd like it for the record. That's fine. I'm not an advocate for war, except when it's justified. The U.S. was attacked by surprise and unprovoked by the Japanese on December 7th of 41. During the attack, thousands of service members as well as civilians were killed. There were also over 1,000 wounded. On December 8th, we declared war on Japan. Germany and Japan then declared war on the U.S. Our country did not stop fighting Germany and Japan until they were defeated and surrendered. Similar to December 7th, Israel was attacked by surprise and unprovoked by the terrorist organization Hamas on October 7th. Unlike the Japanese, who targeted our Pearl Harbor military installation, Hamas targeted Israeli civilians, including babies, children, women, men, and the elderly. The atrocities that Hamas committed that day, as horrific, despicable, barbaric, and even below how animals live in the wild they were, bear repeating lest we forget. They include beheading of babies and children, burning babies alive in ovens, rape, cutting open the wombs of pregnant women to remove and kill their babies, brutal murder and massacre of 1,200 innocent people, hostage taking of 240 people, and many more unspeakable violent crimes. These atrocities meet the definition of war crimes and genocide as defined by the UN Office on Genocide, the International Criminal Court, and the Human Rights Watch Group. As the U.S. justifiably responded to the Japanese attack, Israel responded justifiably to the attack by Hamas and the atrocities they committed on October 7th. Like the U.S. in World War II, Israel needs to continue to wage war until Hamas is defeated and surrenders like Germany and Japan. The politicians I'm addressing were elected by the citizens of Franklin to attend to the affairs of our community, not to adopt a resolution that makes a political statement calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Before the council adopts such a resolution, thinking it could somehow influence Washington's decisions and policies related to the war in Gaza, or somehow influence Israel to stop fighting their war with Hamas, they should confer with Washington and ask if a resolution from Franklin really would make a difference. If after this, the council still decides to adopt a resolution, then I would request that the council does not show partiality, but also adopts a resolution that supports Israel to defend itself. No different than what the U.S. did after December 7th. Israel is a sovereign nation, just like the U.S. I'm asking you to focus on the local issues you were elected to handle, not military decisions being made by Israel or how our government responds to the war in Gaza. These are not your areas of expertise and are well above your pay grade. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Hello, good evening. My name is Fadi Hajsid. I live in 4605 West Sharon Lane, Franklin. I'm going directly to the speech. There are so many people who are brainwashed. So now we live in the 21st century. If someone comes to you and say beheading and raping, show us the proof. We don't live in 1960s. And the problem with some people, they only think that the circuit has 20 degrees. If you are attending a math class and you're saying to the math teacher, the circuit has only 20 degrees, he's gonna go and say, go and teach yourself, knowledge yourself with more information about the circuit. The beheading, you're saying that, prove that. Associated Press, equipment has been taken on May 21st. The United States government worked very hardly to return those people. Associated Press, before May 21st, issued and put a public article about there is no proof of what has happened claimed by the IDF. The problem with some people, they only think about it's October 7. What happened between 1948 and 2023? What happened? You have to wake up. You have to wake up before you put your head on a pillow. Dear brothers and sisters in humanity, some government, even United States government, both candidates are working very hard to stop the war. But it's not the problem. It's the problem with the other government who's not accepting that. You know why? Because there is a definition called Zionism. Zionism is not related to real Islam, to real Christianity, to real Judaism. These three religions believe in their clear message they are against Zionism. And you see rabbi against the war. You see priest against the war. You see imam against the war. I just want to share with you a story. I have an uncle who is 92 years old. He was born in Palestine. He's in Canada now. And he told me, you know, we used to live in peace, in harmony, Christian, Muslim, and Jewish. And he said a very short story. He said a Jewish trader used to come to his mom, which is my grandmom, and to sell clothes from England because he trusted that. What happened after that? The gangs, the Zionist gangs came and they brainwashed. And I am really surprised about the people who do not want to open their mind. The circuit has 360 degrees. When they say that we are in Franklin, God doesn't ask you about the result, but God asks you in any religion about your action, about your impact. Next time I'll talk more. Thank you so much.
Ms. Davis.
Debbie Davis, 9460 South 96th Street. I just wanted to correct a few things. Actually, the majority of the country, at least 60%, is for a ceasefire. What we're hearing tonight from the youth is they're not just representing themselves, they're representing a strong part of the Franklin community. We had a higher percentage of uninstructed votes in Franklin than any other municipality in Milwaukee County. And I feel like if we want to take a neutral position, then we support the ceasefire because it talks against, it advocates for an end to violence on all sides. And yes, we want the hostages freed. And it's thousands of Palestinians that are also in prison. We call them prisoners. They're also hostages, people just picked up off the street. So, and yes, there have been war crimes on both sides, but, you know, a high-level Jewish appointee in the Biden department, State Department, left because, and others have left the State Department, saying that this policy is making things less safe for Israelis and less safe for us. So I'm, you know, a former history teacher, a civics teacher, a mental health provider for refugees, and also I'm a senior lecturer at UWM in the topic of historical trauma, collective trauma. And I can tell you this is trauma that's going to be multi-generational. It's going to go on for a long time. It's going to affect our safety. It's, I could talk on it. My best friend married a Jewish rabbi, and she's been in the streets protesting U.S. policy and Israeli policy for months. She lived with the trauma. Her father was Israeli and he was in the military, and it affected her entire childhood. We have Israeli soldiers that are committing suicide, just like we have people, you know, my brother, 3 out of 4 of the men in my family were all in the military, and one died just a couple months ago because he came out of the military with behavioral health problems and addictions that destroyed his health over time. Another brother works at the VA, and so he works with people in occupational therapy that have been impacted by the war. So it's a trauma that's affecting us, you know, across both societies, many societies. And so the neutral position is to support the ceasefire so that we end violence for everyone. It's a political problem in between Israel and Palestine that goes back a long time, and the only solution is a political solution, not a military one. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Karen Squire. I reside at 6743 South 50th Street. I'm here to address the genocide that has been taking place in Gaza for 8 months now. I believe I have an idea about what some of you are thinking already, that putting a ceasefire resolution on the agenda is not a community issue, and I'm glad you guys are considering it, so thank you. But I want to steer you in another direction. Your community is made up of Arabs and Muslims and Palestinians here in Franklin who do have family in Gaza and Palestine. And our emotions are running high. And it's hard to move on with our daily lives while these atrocities are happening overseas. It's hard to function. It's difficult to teach, to be doctors, nurses, therapists. It's difficult to be students when you're seeing deaths of women and children, literally watching them starve to death, watching horrific scenes of innocent people being slaughtered. How can we function as a community when our mental health is at stake? When a genocide is happening on our watch, that is a more important issue to us than the rock, for example. And we need these atrocities addressed first. Some people from the community came to speak already. Many of the high school students came to speak on this issue. What's happening in Gaza cannot wait, and it needs to be addressed immediately. When our family and friends are dying daily, they need us to step in. And we know that putting a ceasefire resolution in our city is going to be mainly symbolic. We get that. But symbolism now is extremely important. Many other cities across the county have put forth the resolutions, including Milwaukee County itself. It's a way for our complicit government to see that we don't stand for genocide. This is not about Muslims and Jews and October the 7th, as the media and propaganda try to make you believe. This is a humanitarian issue we are addressing here. Being a decent human being. To say, stop the killing, stop the killing. I ask you, please, seriously think about your many constituents in Franklin right now who will be voting in droves in the next elections. We need our city to speak up and to put forth the ceasefire resolution so we can take a stand against genocide. We will remember your decisions next election, and we hope that you don't be complicit. We will remember. Please consider making this a priority for your citizens of Franklin. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Laith El Jaradat, a junior at Franklin High School living on Tumble Creek Drive. First, I want to start off saying that I thought that calling for a ceasefire is something that doesn't need second thought. I thought that it's something that high school students don't need to come and ask of you, ask of their representatives to consider. I thought that it was something urgent, important, and prioritized for representatives, especially when youth from their community plead them to pass it. However, I was clearly wrong. We're very disappointed that our voices don't seem to be heard. Why did I think a ceasefire would be passed immediately? Because we all claim peace, equality, human rights, and freedom. Because a ceasefire does not take sides. It helps the civilians that are most heavily impacted. A ceasefire is neutral. Both Israelis and Palestinians are calling for a ceasefire in the area that's actually affected, to end the daily massacres and bombings and to release hostages. The only side that a ceasefire takes is the side of peace. And the only side that ignoring a ceasefire takes is the side of killing all innocents. Again, we're not here to debate who started the war. We're here to push for it to end. Should minor details make you take so long to agree on a document calling for peace? It was claimed earlier, it was claimed that 80% of people support Israel, yet no evidence was provided. It was also claimed that there was peace before. However, in the West Bank, where Hamas doesn't exist and doesn't have any influence, people continue to die every day from Israel and get arrested. And it was claimed also that us Franklin, by voting for a ceasefire, won't make a difference. And if everybody had that opinion, then nothing would ever get done. And the steps to peace don't come overnight; they come in small steps. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, good evening.
Evening. My name is Karim Harsh Saeed. I'm a junior at Franklin High School. I live at 4605 West Sharon Lane. Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, your decision to keep pushing the ceasefire back has not only disappointed me, but over 20 other young students who came to give a speech for the first time in front of you, our representatives. This choice has a big impact on our community. This choice has a big impact on our community, morals, and a future as a whole. This ceasefire is a crucial step in stopping this war and protecting the lives of the innocent children and their families for both sides. This is more than just a symbolic agreement. We are losing the chance to show that peace is achievable. This decision gives a very awful message saying that we are prepared to put up with continuous attacks and any suffering they cause. The worth of a human life is unimaginable, and continuous non-stop barrage is a threat to all communities and families everywhere around the world, not just in Palestine. Please think again before making a choice on the ceasefire. We as the city of Franklin cannot be remembered as a city who voted against saving lives. Instead, we should be known as a city that put an end to the war and destruction in Palestine. Let this step in the wrong direction not stop us from making the right choice. Rather, let it guide us let it be a guide for us to step up our efforts to find a solution for peace. Do not allow the simple details of the ceasefire, which aim to put an end to loss and suffering from both sides, to put a stop to this. Let's uphold our commitment to these values and work to achieve a meaningful and permanent solution. Again, we are not here to debate who started this war. We are all gathered to put an end to the violence from both sides. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Shalayan, and I'm a junior in Franklin High School, and I live at 12031 West Jefferson Terrace. Members of the City Council, I will keep this brief, but to begin, let's address the importance of the City Council. City Council is set in place to represent the views and the interests of its people. What saddens me, though, is that a bunch of teenagers and residents come forward to speak about passing a ceasefire resolution, and no action was taken. This resolution was agreed upon with both sides, Palestinian civilians and Israeli civilians. Israeli civilians even protest for a ceasefire. Even the ICC themselves put out an arrest warrant for the Prime Minister of Israel, showing that it's not just an option of kids, but the option of the most important international war court. Yet, our City Council still decides not to pass it. This brings up the question, is our City Council really representing the interests of its people? Is our City Council doing what's best for its people? Because as you may know, the war is affecting lots of lives here. People are losing family members, relatives, and if the resolution was able to even help in the slightest way, what reason would stop our council from passing it? I would understand if our members believe that it shouldn't be passed because it was too controversial or would cause chaos. But if both sides are agreeing upon the same solution, what stops you guys from passing the resolution? If we can make a change and save the innocent lives of children and mothers, why not jump at the opportunity? Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Aday Mustafa, and I am a junior at Franklin High School, and I live at 6965 South Craig Court. It has been brought to my attention and the attention of my peers and residents of Franklin that the ceasefire resolution to get added to the agenda has been consistently delayed. And many of us have been very infuriated and saddened because of this, as on May 7th, we students came out here and deeply expressed our hearts to show the importance of a ceasefire resolution which would stop the killing of many innocent lives in the ongoing conflict. And we thought that we made it clear enough that we want a ceasefire and how important it is and how it impacts us, the residents of Franklin. With the constant delay of the ceasefire resolution, our beliefs and values to save innocent lives feels to us like they've been abandoned by the absence of urgency that has been shown to us and the resolution. A month ago, we citizens used our First Amendment freedom of speech rights for a good cause to show that this ceasefire resolution is not something that can keep getting pushed around, delayed, and discarded, and that is something that requires immediate action as we all play our part in this important issue. As in Gaza, many people are dying not only from airstrikes, but from the famine and very harsh living conditions. As for the life condition of the average person in Gaza, continuously deteriorates as we speak right now. For every hour in Gaza, 15 people are killed, which 6 of who are children, 35 people are injured, and 12 buildings are destroyed, and more than 60 Palestinians have been killed, 220 have been injured in Gaza within the last 24 hours. And as we sit here and wait, these numbers only continue to grow. All of this shows that the call to action for a ceasefire resolution is very urgent. It is very disappointing that we have to come on here again and express our voices for the end of the killing of innocent people, and that this is not something that can keep getting delayed and should be taken more seriously. And now that we, the residents and the youth of Franklin, have done our part as citizens, expressing our voices for what is right, we now ask you, the members of the council, to do yours and add the ceasefire resolution to the agenda. And for the record, these 4 Israeli hostages who were found killed in Gaza were actually killed by Israeli airstrikes and were pronounced dead a month ago, but the Israeli government has decided to wait 30 days to actually look into it and pronounce them dead. Thank you very much.
All right, we've got 3, and we're done. We're going to close it up. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Zaina Khatum, and I am a sophomore at Franklin High School. I'm a resident of Franklin. I prefer not to broadcast my address publicly, but can provide it in writing if requested. I look at what I have today and all the things I'm able to do. I have a nice school where I can get a good education. I have clean water to drink from. I have a comfortable bed to sleep on, and I can see my family in their best health and liveliness. On the other hand, there are people just like me who aren't as fortunate, like the kids in Palestine. They don't have schools they can learn in anymore. They sleep in tents on the dirt. They have fear in them that lives in them every day, making them wonder if they will live that day or not. They have hunger that comes from not eating for days on end. They see bits and pieces of their family instead of seeing them whole and health. As people, as humans, we have to speak up and address what is happening in Palestine. We have to make a change for a better world and a better future, which is why we come here again asking you for a ceasefire. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome.
Hello, my name is Neriman Hamdan. I'm a junior that attends Franklin High, and I prefer not to broadcast my address publicly, but can provide it in writing if requested. I'm sure you know why the youth has come back to speak up about a ceasefire resolution to be added to the agenda. The youth of Franklin has come to speak about this issue once before, and we're here again to tell you that the youth is the future, and the youth wants better for our future. 21 students came out to speak up to our Franklin leaders because we know that you guys speak on behalf of your people. You represent the people of Franklin. You've seen firsthand how the people of Franklin have shown up in numbers to support and showing and telling you guys what we want, a ceasefire. I can stand here and tell you about the situation in Palestine, but you've already heard all that 21 times before this. I'm here speaking because we feel that the last 21 students that came up and spoke on May 7th wasn't enough for you to save the innocent lives. Last time the students came to speak to the council, 34,000 innocent civilians were reported dead. Today, that number has gone up 2,000 more. 2,000 within less than a month. 2,000 that could have been alive today if a ceasefire was added to the agenda. You saying no today makes 50 more dead innocent civilians tomorrow. Killing children isn't a form of self-defense. If those were your kids or your nieces and nephews, you would hope for others to speak up, let alone you would want your kids to have a voice from other students. The youth is speaking out today because we've sat in classes learning about how many times the world has failed to stop history from repeating itself. There's no point in me asking you when enough is enough because we all know it's been way more than enough. We stand here today telling you that the youth will never forget and the youth will continue to speak out until we see a change, the right change. Many cities have voted for a ceasefire resolution because they know these Palestinians' lives matter. So we do care. We want a ceasefire. Thank you.
Last one up, good evening.
Good evening. My name is Hamdan Rizvi. I live at 8842 West Overbrook Court. I am a citizen, and I just wanted to talk about like everyone's been talking about like deaths and in this war and all this conflict. And I just wanted to say, like, if you really care about all the deaths and you really wanted to stop, just pass the ceasefire. Ceasefire means no more violence. You want peace, just pass the ceasefire, right? And I just want to point out, like, it's not just picking a side in the war, right? It's about, like, what's humane and what's right. And that's all I really wanted to say, and I hope you guys really take that into consideration. Thank you.
Okay, we'll close citizen comment period. Moving on to C, approval of the minutes. Approval of the regular common council meeting minutes of May 21st, 2024. Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
We've got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Number 2, special common council meeting minutes of May 30th, 2024. Is there a motion?
So move. Second.
First and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Under D as in David hearings, we have none. E as in Edward organizational business, none. F letters, none. Going into G1. Solution to noise issues at the Rock Ballpark Commons update. I provide one on occasion. Just want to give a little update that we did another sound check regarding concert series at the Umbrella Bar with the neighbors. We also hit a few other residences around there, including some in Greendale, to view the concerns of our neighbors to the north. And I thought it went very well. There's the only issues I had this past weekend were noise complaints that were not rock related. And I don't know if staff had anything other than rock, but I heard nothing reported back to me. And the event that had those few complaints, I've reached out to the ownership and the civilian complaints we will address. So there's no other action on G1. Moving on to G2, authorization for the Department of Public Works to restructure and retitle 3 staff positions. Mr. Schleter, if you'd like to come over, please, our superintendent. So this is a request, Common Council authorization to move forward with the restructure and retitling of the above listed staff positions using funds from vacant position in account number 01-0331-5111. Superintendent Schleter, welcome.
Hi. Just like the action says, I'm requesting 3 positions to be retitled. Foreman, HEO on one of them. Another one to an arborist, LEO, light equipment operator. And a third one to assistant mechanic, LEO. Currently, we have 1 assistant mechanic, 1 head mechanic. But with the huge increase in vehicle repairs, you know, equipment is getting older and we're trying to make everything last longer. Right now, we're sending out equipment, which is very costly. The foreman position, I'm asking that just because we need more oversight on the crews. And the arborist, we're fortunate enough to have a couple of people that are certified and they've been doing the work, and I feel it's appropriate that they be given the appropriate title.
Thank you. Comments from the council? Alderwoman Day.
I just have one. The three positions that are here that that you want to reclassify, are those currently vacant positions and then they're being transferred into the new positions, or are they positions that are currently filled?
We have staff on board right now that 2 of those would go into those new retitled.
Okay.
And then the third one is a possibility that it's an existing person, or otherwise we would fill it from the outside. And we do have a vacancy right now in the department, so there's
Yes.
no new added.
Okay, that's where I was trying to figure out if
Yeah.
we're adding FTEs at all, but it would be a net 0 FTE.
Yeah.
And
Net
then,
zero.
and then as far as the reclassifying of the job titles, is that going to reclass them in the pay structure at all?
Yes.
Moving them up? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I know that you said that you have vacant positions now that can absorb that for this particular budget. Will you then be adjusting your personnel budget for years going forward to reflect those changes for the reclass?
I would be requesting that from
Okay.
Danielle, yes.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
Okay.
Alderwoman Eichman.
I was going to make the motion requesting common council to authorize to move forward with the restructure and retitling of the above listed staff positions using funds from vacant positions and account number 01-0331-5111.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item G3, a motion to approve the Director of Health and Human Services to sign the Franklin High School Community Internship Agreement to host a volunteer student intern during the 2024-2025 school year.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item G4, a resolution for the construction of a city public sidewalk in Milwaukee County right-of-way along the east side of South 76th Street from West Ryan Road, that's Highway 100, to a point approximately 1,575 feet north, 78 feet north. Mr. Morrow, do you want to kind of go over this for a second?
This is a requirement of Karma to construct a sidewalk, and it happens to be in county right-of-way, so county is requesting that we actually accept responsibility for the sidewalk, although in turn we require the adjacent property owner, in this case Karma, to actually remove snow. So we'll be responsible for it like we do all of our other sidewalks. We won't have to, this is not a pathway, just a sidewalk.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second with Mr. Craig. Further discussion, Alderwoman Eichman.
Thank you, Mayor. It doesn't come as a surprise to the mayor, to Glenn, and I left a voicemail earlier for the alder of the district. So Glenn, what you're saying then is Karma will be responsible for the snow removal for the entire sidewalk? Or I guess my concern, as I had mentioned earlier in that email to you, was if the Franklin Little League is going to be responsible for the section of the sidewalk that goes through there, and then also Croatian Park.
So this will not go past the Croatian Park or the Little League. This starts from Ryan Road, and we'll cross whatever outlot, whoever owns that will be responsible to maintain that sidewalk. And then when it crosses Karma's property, Karma will have to be responsible. And this goes to the north edge of the Karma property.
Okay, thank you.
See no further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. G5, a resolution to award the 2024 local street preventative maintenance program and contract to Farner Asphalt Sealers LLC in the amount of $148,899.95. Mr. Morrow?
So we do this every year. This is, of course, we have a paving project, but we also look at roads that aren't too old, and we actually put a sealer on them that helps rejuvenate the surface and makes the roads last a lot longer. So you can see the bids there. One bid, the low bid, was thrown out because they didn't want to do any crack sealing. So we're going to throw that bid out as unresponsive. And then the other bidders are, we're recommending Farner. We get to do everything we have on the list with our budget.
So there's a motion here on the page. Mr. City Attorney. Could somebody turn his button on?
With regard to what the city engineer just stated and what the assistant city engineer has provided on the action sheet for this subject matter, the low bidder, Corrective Asphalt Materials LLC, the bid was incomplete and details why that was incomplete and should be rejected. So I would suggest the first motion should be a motion to reject the bid of Corrective Asphalt Materials LLC as being incomplete as stated by city engineering staff.
So moved. Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, that motion carries. Second motion for option A.
As stated, yes.
Motion as stated for option A. Is there a motion
I'll make the motion.
for option A? Is there a
Correct.
second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
I just have one question.
Mr. Craig, you've got the floor.
Has Farner Asphalt been a contractor for us in the past? And is this something where we can speak of the previous work that has been completed by them?
I'm not sure if Farner has ever won this project. I know we've bid with them in the past, and we've discussed how to do our bid with them and among other contractors. So we have a confidence level with Farner.
Very good. Thank you.
So we've got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item G6, approval of the service agreement with BCI Entertainment LLC to provide a Northern Lights drone show on July 5th, 2024 as part of the 2024 Independence Celebration with technical corrections to the insurance requirements. Who's taking, Mr. City Attorney?
And with
You have the
regard to the motion with regard to technical corrections, this was again being revisited today and did not result in a full answer from the contractor's side. And so in addition to the motion stated on the action sheet, I would state and such other, and to me, they're not corrections, they're changes. So I would change that in the motion with regard to changes instead of technical corrections. And I would add at the end, comma, and also such other changes as may be approved by the city administrator.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a first.
Question.
I know. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Discussion, Alderwoman Eichman.
Just real briefly, Mayor, I was going to mention, shouldn't we, I mean, the motion was put on the floor now, but I was going to ask if then, if we don't have all the information, should we table it to the next meeting? But the motion's on the floor, so,
Well, Mr. City Attorney, I think you want to clarify that. I think you addressed that, but,
okay. With what the city attorney added into it, we're good to go.
well, that's the motion in the second. Okay, we're good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G7, Committee of the Whole recommendations from the Committee of the Whole meeting of June 3rd, 2024, governmental training presented by the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. You're on this one?
Anything that goes to committee of the whole has to come to council.
Okay,
I'd make the motion to place on file, if
What
that's
you're
the
looking
proper
for?
motion.
okay, so the motion be to receive and place on file. We got a first, is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second, Alderwoman Day, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G8. A motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 sub 1 sub E for market competition, bargaining reasons to deliberate and consider terms relating to potential commercial, industrial, manufacturing developments and proposals and the investing of public funds and governmental actions in relation thereto and to affect such developments, including the terms and provisions of potential development agreements for including, but not limited to, the properties at 3303 West Oakwood Road, and to re-enter into open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate.
So moved. Second.
A first and a second, roll call, please. We're good, officer. Thank you.
Alderman Holfer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Day.
Aye.
Alderman Barber is excused, and Alderman Craig.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, motion carries. We are slowly creeping into closed session. We're going to be clearing the area. Yeah, and then. It's now 7:41 PM. We are back in open session. I'd like to entertain a motion. Mr. Craig?
I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to proceed as discussed in closed session.
Seconded by Alderman Hassan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on. Licenses. Who's doing licenses under H as in Henry?
Alderman Craig.
Alderman Craig, you've got the floor, sir.
Thank you. License Committee met on May 30th and earlier this evening. We do have some to be approved in your packet, starting at page 44. The operator and all of the Class A combination facilities will be recommended for approval with a new liquor and food, second from the bottom on page 44, will be recommended for approval pending a review of a second review from the fire department regarding their inspection. The next page, 45. All items will be recommended for approval with Quick Trip store number 857 will need to pass a building inspection. And the Man Liquor and Indian Grocery will also need to pass a second fire review, or actually they have a fire inspection pending. They have not had one done yet. Moving on to page 46. All of the applicants on this page will also be recommended for approval with some notable points, with Sweet Basil needing a review of their fire from the fire department. Same with Chili's Bar and Grill as well. And those were the ones that we were able to get through tonight.
Excellent. Is there a second?
Second, but I'd like to add something. For the May 30th meeting, that was a special meeting, correct? For
Correct.
licensing committee. And usually we announce, I believe, those who were present at that meeting. So it was not the license committee as a whole. It was Alderwoman Day and myself that were present, just for notes for the clerk's office for minutes is all.
Okay, excellent. So we've got a first and a second.
I was there.
Hold on, Mr. Craig, rebuttal, please. Rebuttal to that
I was
statement.
present on
For that, okay, for that one,
For
the
the
last
30th.
one.
for May 30th.
Okay, the one that you and I were at, Alderwoman Day, that one was complete already, right? We did that last meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last meeting.
So many meetings with licensing, and we have another one coming up. So thank you for that clarification, Alderman.
Thank you. So we've got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have a motion carries. Go on to I as in Ida. Vouchers
Oh,
and.
we have
there's
the
another
ones
one.
from
Oh,
the 30th.
Got excited. Hold on.
Yeah.
Page 55.
Page 55.
Lead it, Mr. Craig.
So all items on page 55 are approved or recommended for approval with notable notations, with KinderCare Learning needing to provide a staff list to the clerk's office. Ingenious Childcare, Jubilee Christian School, and Innovative Health and Fitness needing a correction of their inspection failures. Moving on, same thing applies with the Milwaukee County Parks with Oakwood Park Golf Course and the pending inspection for Whitnall Park Golf Course. The mobile home parks were all approved. The first operator that's listed, we recommend a denial. And then the second one, we were not sure as far as the next, we would want to refer his case to the city attorney for review. So.
I can speak to,
Alderman Day?
I can speak to Mr. Williams. So he has a background check. He's from out of state, and he has from the police department, they ran a background check for his time in the other states that came back with some substantial questions, but there were not dates or reports that went along with it, just the police saying that in this state this happened, in this state that happened. So our question was to refer it to the city attorney to find out if we needed to go into more detail, perhaps bring Mr. Williams in to talk through those charges, or if there was a way that you would prefer us to proceed.
It has to be in process. I first received the files on this after the meeting last night. So it'll have to come back to the next meeting, and any kind of action on these type of matters, yes, requires notice, etc. And there's no factual reason stated for the operator license before that for a denial.
Oh, yeah. City Attorney, if I may, there is.
Alderwoman Eichman?
There are several notes on the file, and each alder and licensing, please correct me if I'm confused if that's the wrong applicant, advising from the Franklin Police Department. I believe, Jesse, you may have had a note on that too. I'd have to
I
look
would
back
suggest
to
refer
not.
this one also to the city attorney.
There are several
Or-
notes on that written, do not approve due to
Okay,
the criminal
so-
felony background.
Hold on. So just as the city attorney just said, just simply refer that back to the city attorney. So there's two to be referred back to the city attorney.
Okay, thank you.
Three.
Yep.
There's three total now?
There'll be a
No,
third
there's
one
two
that's,
now.
someone read ahead. All the other operators would be recommended for approval. Page 57, we will do that again where all the operators will be recommended for approval, save Mr. Hoffman, which is another one that is referred to the city attorney. Page 58, all are recommended for approval with notable notations. Marie Idzowski needs to update the application, as does Arturo Juarez Jr. And then Shane Jasky needs to have his background check rerun because the name was entered incorrectly on the background check, so.
Good catch.
Page 59, all operators are approved, same with page 60 and 61, and 62, 63 as well. And that is all of the ones that we covered on the 30th of May.
Outstanding. So was the first, is there a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. Motion carries. Now we will creep into ayes and items. Council action requested. This will be a roll call vote, so get ready. Motion approving the following. Point one, city vouchers with an ending date of May 30th, 2024, in the amount of $941,340.43. Payroll dated May 31st, 2024, in the amount of $481,574.84, and payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $484,251.63 plus city matching payments. And point three, estimated payroll dated June 14th, 2024, in the amount of $500,000, and payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $255,000 plus city matching payments. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a first and a second. This is a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Craig.
Aye.
Alderwoman Day.
Aye.
Alderman Assad.
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Holfer.
Aye.
5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent. Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We are slow.